Hey there, YouTubers. I'm far from here. Let's talk about evolution. Why is there so much controversy about evolution, when I think that the evidence is that evolution is glaringly obvious? But I think that perhaps some people just don't want to believe that they could be descended from monkeys. They think it's barbaric, or means they're an animal or something like that, which we are animals, but we're just animals of higher intelligence. You know, I think people want to think that they're better than that. They want to think that they're separate or somehow, higher, but that's not true. We're part of nature. We can't disconnect from it. We're completely intertwined with it, and inexorably and inexplicably entangled with nature and the natural world and the natural processes. I had a couple of different things I was going to talk about concerning evolution, and it blows my mind that in the 21st century that many people still don't believe in evolution, namely religious people, and that mostly consists of fundamental Islamic and Christians that seem to be the most persistent criticizers of the theory of evolution. And and by the way, for those people who want to say evolution is just a theory, well, keep in mind that gravity is just a theory. A theory in science is not just an idea. That's a hypothesis. A theory has lots of evidence to back it up. But I was going to talk about a few interesting clues that evolution is real. But first, I'd like to explain just what evolution is, or how I understand evolution in my own words. And I just would like to give an example. Let's think about a zebra-type animal living in a environment such as the plains of Africa. That sort of place with grasses, grasslands, and scattered trees. And this animal was a zebra-type animal, and it ate the green leaves of the scattered trees. And the animals with the longest necks were able to eat the most leaves, which gave them the most energy, and caused them to be the most successful, I suppose, as you would say. And this gave them more time and more ease to pass on their genes, to have sex, because they were strong, because they could get enough food, because their necks were longer, because they could their necks were longer so that they could eat more leaves off the trees. And as the generations go on and on and on, the ones with the longer and longer necks pass down their genes. And again, the reason why the ones with the longer necks pass down those genes is because they're able to have more sex. They're able to reproduce more because they're healthy. They live longer, so they're able to reproduce more. Of course, someone who's healthy is able to reproduce more than someone who's not healthy, or someone who never even gets to reproduce because he gets eaten. That's another example of evolutionary pressure. Not only food sources developing into a niche, such as a horse-like animal developing a longer and longer neck in order to eat leaves higher and higher up on trees, creating a giraffe-like animal, to predator-prey relationships, where antelope are so fast because they get chased by lions, and so the slow ones get eaten, and the ones that are fast are able to pass down their genes. So they continue to get faster and faster. And the same with the lions. The lions that suck at hunting, they don't pass down their genes and they die. And the ones that are good at hunting, they're able to pass down their genes. Alright, I hope that's an explanation. I know I was a little here and there with that, but let's talk about a couple interesting things, such as a nylon-eating bacteria, which was discovered somewhere in I believe near a nylon factory. I think it either ate nylon or nylon byproducts, but it ate a completely synthetic material, and this synthetic material was invented in the 1930s. So this would indicate that either this bacteria evolved to digest nylon, it changed somehow between the 1930s and when it was discovered, I believe in the 70s or 80s, but I'm not exactly sure. But it either means it evolved, or that it was created at the beginning of time and it somehow managed not to starve to death because it only eats these nylon or nylon byproducts. So there's nothing else in the world it could have eaten. So I think that would indicate that it evolved somehow. You know, another thing is that with human evolution, with all evolution, there's bones that you can pick up and feel, the transitional forms that you can see with your own eyes from, you know, fish walking on land to, you know, ape to man, or ape-like ancestors. We didn't evolve from chimpanzees, as some people may think, but we evolved from ape-like ancestors, and our closest cousins today are the chimpanzees. We both, chimpanzees and humans, evolved from a common ancestor, so they're more like our cousins than they are our ancestors. The chimpanzees would be here and we would be here, and our ancestor was somewhere down the line and we split off from chimpanzees. So they're our cousins, as I said. But the bones that you can feel and pick up are fairly hard to deny, and you know, well, you can see the damn things. I mean, what can you say to that? Yeah, I guess the only thing you could say is that the evidence is being interpreted wrong. But I think if you look at the overwhelming amount of evidence that we have, and it is so overwhelming and so much, that shows that evolution happened, and you know, none of biology really makes sense without evolution. I have a great playlist on my channel. It's an evolution playlist. It's full, absolutely full of information about evolution, and you know, I would encourage you to watch every single video on that. I think if you did, or if people did, they, with an open mind, they would recognize, you know, that evolution is true and fact. You know, and again, I don't understand why there's so much controversy. I think people just want to, I didn't evolve for no damn monkey, you know, whatever. But, you know, another amazing thing that happened was, you know, Darwin predicted evolution. He predicted some evolutionary lines, and sure, there was plenty of gaps. But from Darwin's time until the invention of DNA evidence, you know, there was all these gaps. But the instant that DNA evidence was applied to these, to different gaps in the evolutionary, you know, tree of life, as you could say, I suppose, that many were revealed and many predictions and hunches were proven completely and 100% correct. And Darwin was fully vindicated and verified in DNA evidence. If you are going to put somebody in jail for murder with DNA evidence, then you better believe the evidence of DNA when it comes to evolution, because it's absolutely solid fact, and that's all there is to it. We have, the most similar DNA with chimpanzees and apes. As I said, they're our cousins. We have a common ancestor with them. But we have, we have DNA we have similar DNA to all the organisms on planet Earth. That's because we all once, there was once an original single-celled organism, I suppose, that we all evolved from, and who knows how that came into being. But we did, in fact, evolve. And I believe the idea of where life very first came from is a very tricky one, and I don't understand why people exclude the idea that God could have created evolution. I think the evolutionists, the evolutionary theorists, and the atheists, they want to leave God completely out of it, and the Christians or Islams or whatever want to make God, the complete and total and full part of the whole creation thing, as if we just alakazammed into existence, out of nowhere. And I think that God's much more intelligent than that. That He knows much better than that. That the climate fluctuates and things change, such as even in the modern day you could use the example of pollution or something like that. But I suppose that's not a good example because evolution takes place on a very, very long time scales. But again, like I said, climate change, the Earth's been through many ice ages. Everyone knows that's true. Or for some reason you don't believe that. You know that droughts happen, deserts form, lakes form, things happen and change, and the climate is dynamic and changing. It's not static. And that's why species have to be changing. They can't be static. If they were static, then any slight variation in the climate would disrupt the niche, the little niche of the environment that a species lived in. And now when that happens in the case of the real world, because evolution is true, when the climate is changed and niches are disrupted, those members of the species that cannot adapt to the new conditions die off, and that can lead to a new species, or you could have a diverging of species. If some of the species of let's say it's a parrot or something, and it gets really cold, one of the species of parrots, it was a tropical parrot originally, and one of the species of parrots actually adapts to the cold and stays put, and the other species of parrot flies south and stays as the same species. So that's what Darwin called speciation, and that new species could arise. But the point of me telling you that is that God is so smart that He would never make static species because they would die out far too easily. And I think He wanted life to proliferate and continue on forever. And I'm sure, for me personally, I believe, I do believe in God, but I also believe very deeply in evolution because the evidence is so strong. I believe that God perhaps could have created the first life, because that's something that we have no evidence for, really, how the first life was created. But it's sort of like the watchmaker theory of Newton and his colleagues of the time, that God created this device, a watchmaker creates a watch, but in this case God created a single-celled organism with all the intentionality and intelligence and focus behind it to over millions of years evolve into the all the different forms we see upon this earth. And I believe things happened just exactly as they were supposed to, because God is awesome, and He planned it that way, and that's why He designed into the first single-celled organism eventually the occurrence of mankind and humanity upon this earth. And it took millions of years for it to happen, but He did it in a way that would make us much stronger than if He just alakazammed us into existence. And as I said, I fully believe in creation, and I fully believe in evolution. As Mr. Paul Stamets said, the mycologist, evolution is God's intelligent design. And I think that that is very evident. Now, atheists or evolutionists, I see how you could perhaps argue that God is not needed in evolution or evolutionary theory or anything like that. And I think I'll make another video about that a little bit later, arguing, maybe perhaps playing the devil's advocate a little bit. But Christians, religious people, people who don't believe in evolution, please, please, just look at the evidence. I assure you, it's true. But it doesn't take away from our story. It makes us even more amazing, I think, that if you really look at the evidence and this amazing story from single-celled organisms for millions or billions of years, and then you had the Cambrian explosion where life proliferated and diversified intensely with trilobites running around and stuff, and of course through the dinosaurs and small mammals, which eventually became apes, which eventually became proto-humans, the other species of the Homo genus, and then one day only Homo sapiens, man, was left, or one day he was evolved out of the Homo genus. Homo sapiens are the only species that's left. But I just think that it was all a perfect plan that God had set in motion billions of years ago, and it's an even more amazing story than just alakazam. The religious stories are simply metaphors, and you have to take the evidence of evolution at face value, that evolution is indeed real, and you can't deny that. So, just check out if you don't believe in evolution, please check out the evidence. I have many very greatly educational and enjoyable videos. I love the videos that I have in I think it's playlist number 5. I have some numbered 5. Just find the evolution playlist and begin watching it. Begin absorbing the evidence, and please ignore them when they say that it excludes God, because they have absolutely no evidence that evolution excludes God. There's no reason to think that. There's no reason why evolution is proof that God doesn't exist. That's drawing just conclusions that have really nothing to do with it. Just because we evolved does not mean that there's not a God. So when atheists say, evolution proves that we weren't created, well, the burden of proof lies on the person making the claim, right? So if someone says God doesn't exist, or if they say evolution doesn't exist, and the burden of proof lies upon them. But if anyone has any qualms with anything I'm saying, bring up a subject, and the burden of proof will lay on your claim and you can offer supporting evidence of your claim, and I'll be glad to make a video in return if I disagree or if I agree, offering comments and my evidence. I hope you guys enjoyed the video about evolution. Please tell me what you think about the video, and comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. Thank you guys.